Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're doing a follow-up video. Quite some time ago we did a video when the Glock Gen 5 first came out with the Glock 17 Gen 5. And very, very nice pistol. At that time when I had it, I just had the optic I put on it, the Vortex Viper optic. So I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different with it because I wanted to turn it more into more of an offensive handgun than just a defensive handgun. And that required doing a few things. It required getting some new sights for it and getting a new barrel for it and being able to suppress it. And one of the other things that we did with it was we put a tactical light. Now, a tactical light is not the best in the industry. Basically, it's a Glock tactical light, which has both a light and laser combination that you have on it. And it's a white light. It's not an LED, so it's not very, very bright. I'm not aware of Glock actually fixing these yet and putting LEDs on them. They might have. I just haven't seen it yet. And of course, getting a new magazine for it, which we have a 19-shot magazine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over this pistol and all the changes that we had done to it. Well, first off was the barrel. This came with a standard 4.49-inch Glock barrel, Gen 5 barrel with the Glock Marksman barrel. And obviously I wanted to put a sound suppressor on here, so I went and I was able to procure a Glock barrel, which is a 4.94 threaded barrel. This is actually a Glock product. I was fortunate enough to have the Glock had one of these in stock when I was looking for it. Now, this is also a Gen 5 barrel, meaning it does have the Marksman barrel. And this has the American 1/2 by 28. One prior to this would have the European threads on it. Fortunately, Glock has finally made a 1/2 by 28 thread on here. So obviously to go along with the suppressor was Suppressor Sights. So we went with the Ameriglow sights. Now, these Ameriglow sights perfectly duplicate the ones that the Glock Gen 5 comes with. You have the fluorescent orange in the front, and you have the regular white in the back. So these are just suppressor high sights, so it will work with the suppressor. And of course, the suppressor we have on here is my Silencer Co. Octane 9. So these were the main things that we went to it. I did try a couple different recoil reduction systems in here, and quite frankly, I didn't like any of them. So I ended up going back with the standard Glock feature, which was their standard recoil system. So for as far as magazines, you had the standard 17-shot magazine for the Gen 5. Went with the 19. The cost of these sights was about $120 for the sights. Do you have to have these? No, but I like having the ability to look through the optic in case that red dot goes. When you're depending on anything that has a battery, anything can happen. Anything can happen with the battery just being dead and you not knowing it, or it could have issues with weather. You start working in very cold environments. A lot of batteries will lose their power very quickly with cold. Anything can happen with electronics. And you don't want to have your gun out of action if that happens, which is why I prefer having the co-witness. Now, the MSRP on this tactical light is about $260. And again, you have a laser and you have the white light. You have a lever on the bottom here that you can select whether I want the whole system to be off, because you do have ambi levers on both sides. Then you go to your first. It's going to give you just the light. You go to the third, it gives you the laser and the light. You go to the fourth, it just gives you the laser. So depending on what you want, you can select it to either one. This is an excellent pistol for home defense. This is the one that we have by the side of the bed when I'm gone. This one's easy for my wife because if she picks it up, she just hits the button. She has the light and the laser. So she can identify her target and she can have a laser, so she doesn't have to worry about pointing the gun. It does have the standard trigger in it. I didn't really change the trigger at all. Now the suppressor I got here, again, it's a Silencer Co. It's the Octane 9. MSRP about $620. You can also get this in a shorter version, which is excellent. Of course, shorter means you get less decibels. You're looking at about 127 decibels with a 9mm subsonic round with this. And of course, this one will work with any type of ammunition. Now for ammunition, I keep this loaded with the Federal HydroShock Deep. This is a newer round that just came out. It's 135 grain. The HydroShock is known for reliability and durability and for stopping power. What makes a HydroShock very unique is you have a little tit in the middle of the projectile. What that does is when it strikes soft tissue, what the little tit does is it allows all the fluid to fill around it, and it allows for even expansion. So you get quicker expansion with this. So basically what that does is it speeds up the expansion process, which we're showing you some pictures of. Hydroshock has been around for quite some time. In fact, during I'd say the late 80s and early 90s, it was the main law enforcement round for everything 9mm, 40, 45, for 57. It was the standard law enforcement cartridge. Then, of course, as time went on, you would have the Gold Dot, and you would have some other ones, the Winchester, the Evil Flesh-Seeking Black Talon, and now you also have the new HST. HST I use also in several of my guns, but for the 9mm I do prefer the deep penetrator with the Hydroshock tip in there for expansion. It's not subsonic, but it will still keep it down. Of course, I don't leave the suppressor on normally, just because of the ability to manipulate the pistol around. In a home defense condition, this could be a little bit more hard to manipulate around. So we do leave that off for self-defense conditions. However, for shooting, having it like this, having the suppressor on it, works wonderful. The suppressor adds about 10 ounces to the gun. It's not too much. And the silencer gel suppressors I've been using for the last 6 years since I've been in Texas. And I absolutely love them. I probably would want to go with a little shorter one on here. It would probably be a little bit easier to use. But I'm going to have to get my hands on one of those and give it a try at some point. Now, the optic I have here, the Vortex Viper, you're only looking at about $200. At $200, you have an extremely durable sight. On the left-hand side, you'll see here we have up and down, so we can have various degrees of brightness, depending on what your environment is. You have a 6 MOA dot on here. And as I said, when you pick it up, it does co-witness with the iron sights, with the suppressor high sights. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the range, and we're going to see how it shoots both suppressed and unsuppressed. We were shooting in our challenge targets, which we do have a code for challenge targets, so you can get 10% off all the steel targets using the code SAS. We do enjoy shooting those steel targets. It makes this a lot more fun. Suppressed and unsuppressed. And suppressed, basically all you hear is the action, you hear the ping on the target. For as far as accuracy, we can see from the target, with this sight on here, you can do pinpoint accuracy out to 25 yards. I have these zeroed at 15 yards because, again, I have these for self-defense. And there's no shot in my house that I'm going to get 25 yards out of. So we keep this zeroed at 15 yards, point of aim, point of impact. Now, I'm not sure if Glock sells these pistols in this configuration with the suppressor sights and the threaded barrel yet. I haven't seen it. And again, this barrel, I was really surprised when I went looking, because all the barrels I had seen before that did have the European thread. So I was really happy to see the 1/2 by 28. You can get these through Brownells, or you can get them right directly from Glock, these barrels. I do tend to like to get factory barrels when I can. There are situations where if you want suppressors, you have to go to a aftermarket company. But when they are offered by the OEM, I do prefer to go with that. I have in the past had Glock barrels manufactured by Silencer Co., and those do work awesome too. But you have to be aware of what barrel you buy, because you have 5 different generations on here, and parts aren't parts. So you do have to make sure that you get the proper barrel for whatever model that you do have. But overall, this gun turned out to be pretty fun. I'm probably going to end up swapping this out for a Streamlight TLR1. But of course, you have to make sure you have the proper light for this, because this is an accessory rail. This is not a 1913 rail on the Glocks. It's their proprietary rail, so you have to make sure that you have the proper attachment for it. That's probably one thing I'm really going to change out on here. But overall, great pistol. It wasn't that expensive for as far as the changeover if you already have a suppressor. The suppressor sights are not necessary. They're good for the most part. With the standard sights on here, you can pretty much Kentucky wintage it. You can get a target where you need to be, but I like having it set up like this. As far as optics are concerned, you can take anything: Delta points, Vortex, Burris, Trijicon. It'll take anything that you want. Just make sure you put a bit of Loctite on there to make sure they don't come loose. Unfortunately for me, I swap out these sights on lots of different guns, so I don't generally put Loctite on because they're coming on and off. But this particular gun here, this sight's staying on, so I got Loctite on here. This isn't going anywhere. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share. Thank you.